This is the Tongsheng TSD-Z8 and it's the successor to the Tongsheng TSD-Z2. This could be the best competitor on the market for the Bafang BBS02 mid-drive kit, but there are a few things about this motor that are actually better spec'd than the Bafang. So we are going to compare main specs of these two motors, see how easy it is to install and give it a test ride, see how it compares, and we're going to compare the full specs to see, is this the Bafang killer that we've all been waiting for? Is it cheaper? Is it quieter? What's the power like? What's the features like? Firmware updates, etc, etc. We're going to run through the whole comparison of this mid-drive motor. And the bike we're going to be fitting this today is a Specialized rock hopper. Now this kit has come ready to fit to most 68 to 73 mil bottom bracket bikes, so wide range of most bikes. I actually bought this bike for a dual motor hub drive project, and I've been sent these huge 6-piston brakes which we're also going to be testing today. Unfortunately I didn't use the bike for that particular project because these brake calipers are so big they were rubbing on the hub motors, so mid-drive is going to be perfect. So we're going to be testing out the 6-piston brake setup today, and we're going to be testing out the 1000-watt motor installation and test ride. Let's go. So quickly before we start, obviously we've got the motor itself. This is slightly larger than the Bafang BBS02, but it actually weighs less. Right, we've got a 48 volt 16 amp hour lithium battery with the battery mount built in underneath. We've got a locking key. It's a Rinchen, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it. I've worked with that before. USB port, charging port and on button. Nice little battery indicator built into the actual case. Funnily enough, I did a Tongsheng 500 watt which we're going to add to the KIRBEBIKE website, and I didn't like that. The chain alignment wasn't good. The main chain wheel was either the motor or the chain wheel was hitting the chain stay on the frame. It was just bad fitment. I wasn't happy with it. This has got like a dished, I can't even pronounce the word, dished sprocket, which brings the chain wheel much closer in towards the motor and the actual chain alignment. So got high hopes for this fitting a lot better. Loom, display, speed sensor, very simple stuff. You get a couple of spacer brackets. Sometimes you might find the motor hits the bike frame. So when we remove all of this, you can slide that on down the bottom bracket shaft all the way to there and space the motor out appropriately. So a lot more thought out already than the last Tongsheng that I reviewed. And we've got a couple of crank arms. So on the crank arms you've got 170, which is obviously the length of it, L for left, 170 R for right. And what I've noticed is it's actually well thought out. They've kind of curved it out with an offset for better clearance from the drive side to the non-drive side. So far so good. It seems to be a very well thought out kit, and I've got higher hopes. The last Tongsheng 500 watt was pretty good, but I wasn't blown away by it, and a lot of people seem to be really, you know, there's a lot of people that already have the Bafang BBS02. I'm very eager to see if this is something that can blow the socks off and blow the Bafang out of the water, so to speak, or at least be as good, possibly better in some ways, and we're yet to talk about the price. But anyway, without any further ado, we're going to go and get this fitted, and we're going to have to remove a couple of parts. I'm going to have to remove a couple of parts from here ready to get the motor on. So you've got a lock ring here, you've got a main nut or whatever you want to call it there, and then the last components is 2 Allen head bolts here. So you've got this bracket. Note though that there is a plastic space between the bracket and the motor body, so don't lose them. Bolts, and where's he gone? Spacer. Don't lose those spacers, guys. And then this bracket simply pops off. That is ready to slide on the bike. Now for the sake of this video, I've had the bottom bracket removed already because there's a million videos how to remove bottom brackets. Not only that, a lot of different brands of bottom brackets have different tools for removing it, and I just thought it was easier to take to the bike shop. Most likely if you've got a 2 or 3 speed on your bike on the front chain wheel, you're probably going to have to move the derailleur and disconnect the chain, remove the derailleur and put the chain back together. But that's already been done with my bike that we're doing today, so it's ready to drop straight into the frame. Right, this is obviously the chain wheel side where you've got the threads to place the sprocket on. So we are going to drop this straight in for a quick test fit, see if it needs any spacers. So I'm literally just sliding it through the frame. That is very snug. What I'm going to do is, before I bolt any of this up, is check the clearance on the chainstay in the frame, especially with the sprocket or chain wheel, whatever you want to call it. Right, so the motor seems to fit nicely. Whether this fits without any spacing is another thing. I would say that's actually clear in the frame, but that is more than close for my liking. I think a little too close. Yeah, that's just a little close to my liking. I might pop one of the smallest spacers in there. I would say they're the same size. Can't see much difference. Right, so we're going to pop this out. Now, as I was saying, just going to take the spacer if you need to. It does jiggle about a bit on that spline, but when it's all bolted up, I presume this is a spacer, it doesn't come with instructions. It's exactly the same size as a bottom bracket, so I'm pretty certain that's a spacer for fitment. Now, got a little bit more space on the chainstay already. Ah, that's perfect. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm no mechanic, but I'm happy enough with that. We'll probably run it down to the bike shop to my friend who's an expert on setting up gears really nicely if needed. Yeah, I'll say we just start bolting this thing up and getting it fitted. What do you reckon? Let's go. Right, so you can see the reason why you need the spacer now, because when you slide this over, there is a bit of a gap between that bracket and the motor. I don't know with the spacer if that's going to be too short now, but we'll find out. Yeah, so a bit of an angle, because I think the plastic spacers are slightly too short now. I've used the spacer. So, but then we might need longer bolts. Right, let's figure this out. I have noticed in there that there's two pairs of spacers and there's these longer bolts. I'm not sure if they're meant for that, but that's what I'm going to be trying to use next, is longer 4mm Allen bolts and potentially two spacers. We're figuring this out as we go, guys. Seems to have got a bite on the thread. Now's a fiddly bit of trying to get the second one in. Oh, that's much straighter. That's worked a treat for me, guys. Obviously depends on your bike. I don't know how much thread we've got left there for getting the rest of the brackets and bolts on the lock ring. We'll tighten them up in a minute. I just want to see if we've got enough space to fit this. I'm going to go with the grooved side facing inwards, because I imagine that's going to bind onto the groove of that bracket. Just hope there's enough thread here. I'm just going to do it hand tight to see. We might not have enough to get the lock ring on. I don't know how important this is, but let's tighten this up, see if we can tighten it and expose a bit of thread. There we go. Now it's on the motor, I can't get the spanner where the chainstay is, which is really annoying. The great thing about this is there's no extra brackets or ugly brackets to secure it to the bike, and you want it kind of leant forwards till it hits the frame, because the torque of the motor will lock it against the frame. So it's a good design. Almost makes the bike act as if it's a torque arm itself. Very, very fiddly to get on. Doing it up to torque specification, effing tight. Don't think we've got enough thread to get that locking ring over. I don't know how important that... I mean, this is the main thing that keeps it tight, but I don't know whether it's just a protective cap. Oh, it is. It's going on. Not by loads, but yeah, it might be alright. Okay, I don't think I'm going to get it much tighter on this. tight. That's really tight. Yeah, that's definitely tight. So next up we're gonna spin on this final lock ring thing. Which way is it spin on? Yeah, there we go. And again, using this tool, I feel happy that I've got both of these on now, even with the spacer. That ain't going anywhere. Just going to tighten up these bracket bolts now. I'm not sure what that's for, whether that's, we'll find out as we go, whether this hole on this metal bracket is for attaching something else to. Considering I'm a hub drive guy, I'm pretty happy with the fitment of that. Right, I'm not going to go crazy with that because that bracket ain't going anywhere. It's held in place by this and it's got plastic washers, so I'm not going to go nuts on that. I would imagine we probably need to fit the chain ring, don't we, before we fit the pedal arm on the crank arm. Maybe you could fit the crank arm on first. Don't know if there's any benefits or not to which one you do first, but I don't know if these are going to be the fittings for this. I think so. You guys will be happy to know that these are also 4mm. So far I've only needed one different size Allen key. This is all going too smoothly so far. I don't want to jinx myself, but this is a pretty straightforward install. Mid drives aren't normally my thing. I'm normally a hub drive guy. We'll see whether the Tongsheng Z8 will convert me. I'm just guessing that I've used the right fixings because I've been sent this as a sample kit to see whether we're going to list this on the KIRBEBIKE site based off of my findings and my review of this kit. And unfortunately for you guys, if yours turns up with no manual, you're going to have to use my mediocre skills as your fitting guide. So far I'm impressed with how intuitive and easy this kit is to install. Yeah, I need something to create a bit of leverage, so I'm just going to hold this. That doesn't work. Thinking outside the box here, guys, trying to oh yeah, that works a treat. Get yourself a chain whip tool off Amazon, Alfred's, Bike Shop, wherever. Now I can crank up this. Oh. Another method which I don't recommend is just wedging something in there between the frame. Oh no. Cut. Okay, don't do this option, guys. Oh shit. Oh yeah, don't do that. That was a dumb idea. Don't wedge something in there that you can't get out easily, because it spins this way but you can't the other way's drive. Oh, it will move. Oh no, that's alright, you can do it, but it's got the resistance of the motor and probably engine braking or something. Okay, motor is on. I'll tell you what we need to fit is the chain guard next. And I imagine it's probably going to be these awkward little bastards. So what I'm going to do is line it up here, and I imagine I've got to turn the chain wheel to get to one screw at a time, which is going to be loads of fun. Stay. Ah, yeah.
You might have to hold it. I'm losing grip.
No. Just keep it there for 1 sec. It's biting. It's biting this bone. I've got it. Go on, hold the camera. I'm not sure if that's lined up. It's hard to tell. You've got a window of access to the back of this chain wheel like that big to get to one screw at a time. So, it's not lined up to the other screw hole. You bastard. Alright, let's try that again. That seems to be lined up better. This is the fiddliest job. Right, let's hope that the other holes are lined up this time. Yeah! Screw number 2 going in. 1 down, 1,000,000 to go. Ah, you... Fuck's sake. I mean, there is easier ways to do this. I could put a little bit of masking tape on this screw or something, would probably... Yes. Probably work better if you put just a little tab of masking tape or use a magnetic screwdriver, will be much easier. But we like to make life a little bit harder for ourselves here at Dude Stuff. Fuck's sake. Should we put a counter up on the screen? How many times has a screw dropped on the floor? So, as I said before, these are marked 170 L and R. That's the left side, isn't it, when the bike's the right way up? Yeah. So, let's check what fittings we've got for this. Pretty certain it's just this. Alright. Yeah, it's nice that they've bowed this out, so it's got nice clearance. This one's straight, so that is time that's tightened up, that might hit the chainstay. So it's a nice, well thought out design. Give that a little bit of a tap. Look at these bad boys. Got a new Allen key set for a treat myself. So it's an 8mm. Don't know which way the thread is. That seems right. It's all looking quite tidy, isn't it? It's a nice little kit, I think, so far. Get that on there nice and tight. Make sure you put these arms on opposite to each other, guys. Do you remember doing that before, Lou? Do you remember you put the pedal arms on so they weren't? No, you don't remember that, no. Right, and as you get to the final bit, hold the pedal arm, give it a tight to torque sensing number, effing tight. Don't strip it out though. Okay. Sweet. Probably need some pedals on here, don't we? Should we complete the look with some pedals? Right, with this bike, as I said, I've got this 6 caliper piston brake setup to test, and the kit they sent me, they just sent in this anodised blue colour, which I don't think goes too bad with this. It's quite an unusual bike frame. It's kind of like matte grey with a slight hint of like red or flamingo kind of colour, but very, very subtle. Anyway, I was kind of playing around with adding something else to match the blue calipers, so we've got a blue seat clamp there, and also I bought these. I'm not sure about them. What do you reckon? Are they too bling, or do you think they'll go with the brakes? Should we fit them and see what they look like? Should we just see how it looks? Let me know in the comments. Do the pedals look awful, or do they look cool? Be all professional with an actual pedal spanner. Cool, they are definitely on the leery side. So one pedal on. Oh look, comes with a little accessory bag. You've got a tiny little tool there and some extra studs. So these are properly studded pedals. That's definitely tight. Let's flip it up the right way for a moment to check out how the motor looks fitted. Set of pedals. How's that look? I don't think it looks bad. Motor's quite subtle. Are these pedals a little bit too Ronald McDonald? What do you reckon? They go with the brake calipers for sure. They're almost identical, blue anodised. It's So whether we finish the look off with a blue seat post clamps, we've fully committed to the blue anodised theme at this point. Let's put it on, see how it looks. Out with the old. And try and get in with a new. How's that? Not sure, what do you think?
Flip the bike around because calipers are on the other side.
Because of what?
Calipers are on the other side.
I'm not sure, what do you think? Let's have a look. I mean, it don't look bad. It's just an unusual colour combination with the blue and red anodised bits, but it's definitely different. Special edition. It's the blue edition. I feel like I wish we had some like Maxxis tyres or something to bling it up a bit more. Not sure if I've got any laying about. Maxxis, but I think they're fat bike. Got Maxxis tyres for a fat bike laying around. I'm just trying to visualise that chain line. I think that chain line's pretty good. Like if you're dead parallel to this chain line, it looks like it falls sort of halfway up the sprocket. So this might be a lot better. I think the last Tongsheng motor, the motor itself was either in the frame or the sprocket was, there was no adjustability. This could be better. In fact, at this point, should we see if we can just get the chain on the bike? Might be a good thing rather than having it drag around the floor. Oh my god. This seems all tangled up. I don't know what's going on here. How has that got like that? Oh, don't tell me I'm going to have to take the chain apart. That doesn't make sense how that's ended up like that. No, that's not right. Oh, yes! Like magic. Oh yeah, look at that. Beautiful. Starting to look like an e-bike. Proper Larry e-bike with loads of blue anodised bits on it. What are we going to fit next? Should we go with the battery or the display and throttle? Or should we put all the stuff on the ground, connect it and see if it works? Just do a quick plug and play on the ground. Right, let's do a mock-up install quickly then. So we need battery. The only thing is, don't know if I can get it to work without the speed sensor actually. It's got to be fitted anyway. I hate fitting these things, but basically you've got a little magnet that goes on the spoke and then a little sensor. I think you've got an arrow there. Don't know if you can see that little arrow in front of my finger. Got a little arrow there which lines up with the magnet here. I think that's the point on the frame where it's the closest to the spokes. Oh, by the way guys, brake sensors come with it, which you can plug in to cut out. You get these brake sensors, but I throw them in the bin. Maybe we'll put these cable ties through the sensor first. I think you might need this to run because it picks up the speed. Right guys, stay tuned because there's some really interesting facts about this motor coming up in comparisons to the Bafang. I will tell you now though, it's in the same power category, but this thing has torque sensing, whereas the Bafang is cadence sensing, so immediately that's one massive improvement for rideability. I much prefer a decent torque sensor, and we'll find out when this is built whether it's any good. Seems pretty solid. Cut off the excess. So you've got a flat head on one side and the magnet will be on the side facing. There's a little slot to place it over the spoke. Another great thing I've just noticed about this motor, the last one had a couple of crappy bullet connectors on the old 500 watt Z2 Tongsheng. This has XT60 as standard, so you haven't got the stupid adapter lead from bullet connector to XT60, so that is awesome. And then you've got your main loom plug here, which looks like it's at least IP65 waterproof. which is great. I just need to find the arrows, line up the arrows. It's definitely a snug watertight connection. Got this one that's got a cover on it. Let's see what this is. Hopefully this is for the speed sensor. Yeah, if you're looking close, it's a circle with a little flat edge on it, so it's easy to connect them together. Yep. So we've got the main loom, the speed sensor. What I'll connect now is the other end of this loom that goes up to the handlebars. How are we going to know which one's which? Right, they've all got that circle shape for the display. Some have got a different amount of pins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pin. Right, so when you do this one, don't push it into the wrong connector on this loom. You want the 6 pin version of the same shape. And that should be enough to do a soft install before we fit everything else up. Right, let's see whether this works. Check out what this display looks like. As suspected, 3 pin on the throttle, so you've got negative earth and signal. So if we look at them, that's a 2 pin, that's a 3 pin, that's a 2 pin. So the 2 pin are going to be brake cut off most likely, and the 3 pin, that is the throttle. So battery is on. We ready for this? Here we go. Looks like that's the power button. I've never done this yet, guys. Oh, nice. Sweet. Right, so first up I took the battery mount and I fitted that to the frame, securing it with the 2 Allen keys on the bottle cage mount holder. Secured that into a decent location. Then we moved on to fitting the throttle on the handlebars, the full colour display and the power mode buttons all onto the handlebars. And then it's just a case of running the cables. Now I wanted to do this nice and tidy, so I used special clips because I didn't want lots of black cable ties around the frame. So in a few locations I used these special C-clips which I bought additionally myself, just to hide the cables a bit neater. I want this to look really fresh and professional looking, so I've done as neat a job as possible and the bike is ready to go. Right guys, bike is fully built and I'm actually really happy with how it's come out. I love the little blue anodised bits. I actually like the kit so far a lot. I'm hoping it lives up to my expectations when I'm actually jumping on it in a sec. I'm going to give you my first reactions now. Coming up soon, I'm also going to be running through the full specs of this motor and the comparison to the BBS02. So stay tuned for that. I'm not sure if I'm in the wrong gear, obviously being a mid-drive. Feel like I need to shift gears a little bit. Got a bit of a chain jam. I think we need to have a bit of adjustment. Might even need to lengthen the chain. Well, that's annoying. Nice. So this bike has actually got torque sensing. I'm pedalling gently. Wow. Wow. Gave a little bit more pressure on the pedalling then and it takes off. So if I pedal gently, the torque sensing's working. A bit more pressure. Wow. Noticeably different to the 500 watt already. So far, only a quick ride, but I'm getting some really good positives in this bike already. Like I said, thumb throttle is giving me 100% power. You never used to get that on the old model Tongsheng motor. Build quality and fitment all seems good. Yeah, everything's looking really good. I like the display. I like a lot of stuff a lot better. The connections are better. The XT60 battery connectors way better. The waterproof connections are better. Generally a much better kit all round so far, but we're going to get the gear sorted and run through the full specs and I'll give you my honest opinion of this kit. Let's go. Right guys, what is going on? The bike is completely finished now. The gears are working fantastic. The bike's working fantastic. It's fully charged up. So I took the bike down to the bike shop and we had to buy another mountain bike chain and take 6 links out of it and lengthen the chain. So now we're going to talk about the specs of this motor and we're also going to mention the specs of the Bafang BBS02 because I think they're direct competitors in the mid-drive conversion market and Bafang is definitely better placed at the moment. It's well known, people have been using it for a long time now. It's tried and tested and there seems to be a lot of happy people, but could this motor be a good alternative? So let's look at the specs. So let's start off looking at the motor specs. They're both 750 watts. Now, The Tongsheng Z8, which I'm testing on this bike today, is 750 watts, exceeding 120 newton meters of torque. The Bafang BBS02 is up to 120 newton meters of torque. So take from that what you will. That is what it said on paper. Potentially it's got at least the same amount of power, potentially more than the Bafang. Now this motor's got torque sensing pedal assist, which means it'll give you a much more natural feel. If you pedal gently, it's not going to give you as much power. If you pedal hard, it's going to give you full power, which is a much more natural way of doing electric mountain biking. Whereas the Bafang BBS02 is cadence sensing, which is much more on-off. It gives you all power or nothing, or depending how quick you're turning the pedals, which isn't always a natural feel to a riding electric bike. So that's a great feature straight off the bat for the Z8. Let's talk about form factor now. The Z8 is slightly larger than the Bafang, but it comes in at 3.6 kilograms, which is a whole 700 grams lighter than the Bafang BBS02, which is 4.3 kilograms, which is quite surprising considering this is slightly larger. Now, noise of the motor. The Bafang BBS02 is known for being pretty quiet from what everyone mentions in the comments. This on paper is even quieter, and from what I've seen already, having a quick ride of it, it is very smooth and quiet. Let's talk about reliability. A lot of people know the BBS02 has been on the market for a long time and people say it's pretty reliable. There are known a few controller failures, but they're not that common with the Bafang. With the Z8, it's only been on the market a year or so, and I haven't heard of a lot of issues. They've done a lot of improvements on the Z8 over the Z2 for managing heat better. Maybe that's why it's a little bit larger, because they've improved the design for stopping it overheating. Another great feature about the Z8, it's got open source firmware, meaning you can get a cable or some kind of interface extra for it, and you can download firmware updates from Tongsheng themselves or third parties, tinker around with all kinds of settings with it. As far as I know, the Bafang is closed source firmware where you can only get updates from Bafang themselves. And price point. This isn't yet on the KIRBEBIKE site, so I don't know what they're going to price out with the battery. But generally speaking, this is cheaper than Bafang. I think the pricing for Bafang is mostly down to their market presence. They're well known and established in the market, so they can command a slightly higher price point. That's my belief anyway. Take from that what you will. Right guys, without any further ado, we're going to send it down this big hill over here, get an idea of the top speed quickly and safely. See what it's like getting up the hill and do a bit of riding on it and see what, you know, it's great talking about what stuff does on paper, but there's no better test than a real world test where you're actually riding something and using it. So we're going to get out and ride it now, and I'm going to give you my honest opinion on whether this is any good. Right, going up a bit of a hill already. Oh wow. That torque sensing is amazing as soon as I pedal a bit harder. Now, mid-drives obviously can utilise gearing to affect the performance of acceleration or top end. And when you get up to high power on hub drives, I don't think that difference is as noticeable. But 1000 watts on this, it is noticeable, because a 1000 watt hub drive 48 volt will do about 30 miles an hour. I think this will go faster, so we're about to find out. Let's see if a mid-drive is quicker than a hub drive when it comes to 1000 watt 48 volts, 30 mile an hour already, 35, 37, 39, oh come on, 40, yeah! Pedalling gently with the torque sensing. Wow, it feels like, makes you feel like you're on steroids or something. Picking up lovely going up here. Clicking up through the gears. This is a very big steep hill and we're cruising along comfortably at 20 mile an hour with very little effort. How impressive is that though, guys? 40 mile an hour on 1000 watts. It's very, very impressive. Very smooth, very quiet. I am really impressed with this motor. Fuck. Well, it's definitely a test for robustness. I literally just went across the rock garden and hit a rock about that big. And I've properly smashed the motor. Oh my God. I've properly gouged the casing of the motor. And it's still working absolutely fine. I've just properly battered that, but it's still working good. Robustness test seems alright. So I've taken more out of the rock than I've taken out the motor. It's taken the whole edge off of that rock. Right guys, we've come over to this absolutely stupendous hill. This is part of probably the black route at Hadley Bike Park. Nobody actually rides this thing up. I've done it a couple of times on high powered e-bikes. That one is next to impossible on the left because it's got smooth slabs of concrete, and even if you got the power, there's no traction. The right side has got a 90-degree bend. From here, that's just ridiculous. To ride down is terrifying, but to ride up is near on impossible. I'm not even joking, it probably don't come out on camera. The amount of times I've done a video on this and people say it's not a steep hill, I don't know what they're actually watching. This one gets to here and has a 90-degree bend that way. And then you've got a 9-foot mound of dirt in front of you, so if the unlikely event you're still carrying any speed, you're either crashing into that. Whoa! Whoa! Don't tell me this ain't steep. So, very steep hill. And I don't even want to ride up it. Look, it's covered in ice. Left side's impossible because you've got flat slabs of concrete. Right side, we might be able to get halfway. The last time I did this, I've never been so misunderstood on a video. I sent I don't know if it was like 2,500 watt vapor e-bike up here with a run up on full throttle, full send across the fields. And I hit the bottom doing about 30 in my mind, doing my own version of like American hill climb races. I know all the proper mountain bikers just want to see you ride it like a normal mountain bike without much of a run up, so maybe we'll give that a go. We're going to try the proper mountain biker technique of not even getting a run up. Whoa, front end's lifting. Oh, fuck. It had plenty of power, the front wheel was lifting. Should I just jump and send it? Alright, a bit more of an idea what to expect now. Coming in like a normal mountain biker. Whoa! Third and final attempt. I can't see a different outcome, to be honest. I tried, gave it a good shot. There ain't a way to get down this hill with any type of finesse other than just sending it. 3, 2, 1, yes. Right, we're going to try a more realistic, brutal hill that's not ridiculous or almost impossible. We've got loads of slope sections with this flat bit in between going all the way from down there to all the way. Have a look up there. That's a more realistic, like a really nasty hill that most people would struggle to ride a mountain bike up. So we're going to give it a quick send. What do you want me to do, pedal only or throttle? Shall I do pedal only? Try and be a bit more mountain biker. Right, very icy. Will the pedal assist get me off the line? Yeah, loads of power. Pedaling only, no throttle. Clicking up through the gears. 60 miles an hour. Absolutely No issues whatsoever. Fly down, hey! Brakes are good. This has got the 6-piston brakes, which I'm going to be putting the link in the description. Yeah! This thing flies. Whoa! Let's check the brake test out for the 6-piston brakes. Sweet. Right, that's it then, guys. That's my take on the BBS02 against the Tongsheng Z8. I'll put all the links in the video description for this kit because I'm going to ask Andy to get this on the KIRBEBIKE site. I actually really like it. I think it's a good alternative to the BBS02 and the 2000 watt hub drive, depending on your preferences. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this kit if you've had any experience with it. Do not get confused with the Z2 because they did a 750 watt version of that which wasn't as good as this. Let me know your thoughts on your BBS02 kit because I know a lot of guys are using that. They're both excellent kits, but this is interesting because it's not as well known and potentially spec wise on paper it's slightly better, and I'm very impressed with it. So let me know your thoughts in the comments and I'll see you guys in the video soon. Take it easy.